Alright, in this tutorial we're going to show you a little bit about relative reference. And so if you go up in the developer tab on the ribbon, the first part under code, you see record macro, and then underneath that is the use relative references. This option here uses a relative reference based on where your cursor is in the beginning. So if my cursor were here, okay, it's going to use a relative reference, so every movement I make is relative to that original spot. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and record one with the use relative reference and one without, and show you the difference. So when we go in here and record, we're going to record the first one without it. So hit record, and this is just going to be add, and we're going to put with no relative reference, no RR, and we're just going to put this under A. Control Shift A will be this one. Again, it's going to be in the workbook there. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to come down, and at the A5 here we're going to hit equals, and we're going to go sum of 1, 2, and 3, close those parentheses, hit enter. We're going to come back to 6, and we just want to identify this with a red cell just so we know that this is for the one without the relative reference. Okay, we'll go back to developer. See, we have to hit stop recording, and that one should be finished. Now for this other one, we're going to start it up here, and we're going to sum these values, but this time we're going to use relative reference. So go ahead and click on that. You can see that when it's clicked, it is depressed and highlighted. So go ahead and click record at this point, and we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're going to add it with relative reference, and this time we'll do B. And again, save to this workbook, hit OK. So we're recording. So we're going to come down here, hit equals sum, parentheses, put our range in, close those parentheses, and hit enter. We do have 6 here. We're going to denote this time with blue. So blue will be with the relative reference. Come back to developer, go ahead and hit stop record. So now those are both in here. If we go to macros, you can see we have add no RR and add with RR. Those are both in here, and so we can either call those from this here. We can hit run, or if we go cancel, we'll actually do this in the next tab over. So we have 3 different tries here, and we're just going to see the difference between the 3 of these. So again, I could go into record macros here and hit if I hit without RR, we're going to hit run, and sure enough, in the first column it's going to come there. Now notice if I put the cursor over here, you can just go ahead and delete this column to start fresh. I'm just going to put it under third try. Going to highlight that title there, and again pull up macros, add no RR, run, and it still puts it in the first column. You can see that from the beginning everything is referenced at a fixed location, so we went to a fixed A5 rather than relative to where the cursor was. Now if I went to second try, and I'm going to bring up the macros again, add with RR, and I'm going to hit run, you can see sure enough it comes right in here. Now if I did it again, let's just see what happens if I put the cursor here in the bottom. Well, again, we'll go to add with RR and we'll run, and it's going to pull it down relative to that, because where the cursor was should have been where the title was, so it's going to drop down from there. So again, we should delete that. In order to get the summation here, we have to make sure we have it relative to where we originally had the cursor. So go ahead and hit macros, add with RR, hit run, and sure enough it falls in right there. So that gives you a little bit about relative reference, and I want to go in here real quick. We're just going to go into macros, and under add no RR, we'll just go ahead and edit this. This is going to bring us into the Visual Basic right here, and so if you scroll up, this stores actually all of them. This is the first one we did in the first set. Scroll down anywhere you got a line is the next program. So we had add no RR, and it tells you what the name is as well as what the keyboard shortcut is, and you can see here that we have add no RR and add with RR. Now if you look in here, what you're going to see is that with no RR, this range A5 select is going to select an a value that's specific. So I'm always going to select A5 versus in this one, if I come down to the with relative reference, it's going to set an offset. So it's going to set the active cell to an offset given right here. So the difference is, again, whether it goes to a specific cell or a reference cell from where the original cursor is at. And so this just gets you into the Visual Basic just a little bit, and we'll show you more about that later.